good do you really have to be to not practice at all? Folks that come into specifically entrepreneurial endeavors with more backing, the confidence that comes from more backing that allows them to take risks and do things.
I think person that is coming and makes it without anything that has the story to tell appreciates not having more. They appreciate not having more, so therefore they work harder, right? They always say hard work outworks talent, right?
You just pop up one year, you rookie of the year, right? And then after that, you fall off. Like, no one's going to give you, in basketball, they're not going to give you a $300 million contract just because you rookie a year. You got to show up for the next years before you can get that contract.
Welcome to the All Blends Perfectly podcast. Keith, Ryan, Harrison, Coalition Properties, and friends talking about the intersection between lifestyle, real estate, culture, art, and everything in between, because it all blends perfectly.
Good day, good people. Welcome to another episode of the All Blends Perfectly podcast. My name is Harrison Beecher. I'm here with Ryan Butler and Keith James. Jimmy Kenneth, back with us, man. We missed you.
Man. I miss you.
Welcome back.
Hey, thank you for holding it down, man. I really miss you guys. I just want you to know that. I really miss you. I felt like a rap artist the last couple of weeks on tour. I really did, man. But it's good to be home.
Good to be home. And before we dove into current events and then our topic, Keith, you had a couple shout outs and specific things you wanted to begin this episode with.
Yeah, man. You know, two things I want to shout out, man. I was listening to that old 56 Get Rich or Die Trying. Can we give a shout out to early 2000 hip hop?
Special.
Number one.
Special.
And them boys in the gunk. Shout out to them boys in Montgomery. Shout out to
Alabama.
East Chase Mall and all of y'all.
Montgomery, Alabama. We love it. I'm going to make a prediction, Keith. This year at the Turkey Day Classic, probably coming up in a couple months, the most popular item that the vendors sell outside
Will be chairs.
it's going to be a blinged out chair or a chain with a blinged out chair or a clip-on chair that you can take off real quick. So you always strap just in case.
Absolutely.
Stay strapped.
Absolutely.
Stay strapped, my friends.
I went to Tuskegee University, 20 to 30 minutes away from Montgomery. So I spent a lot of time in Montgomery. So that really kind of hit home for me being so close to Tuskegee, right? And shout out to the commentary of the video.
The culture.
Boo-ah.
The culture. He down there. Get them. It's them. Arrest them. And if you're not familiar, there was a Montgomery, Alabama brawl on the side of a river. Actually, no, it was a Montgomery County defense and act of unity amongst black people.
There you go.
There you go. I ain't gonna say brawl.
Yep.
Rebranded. Yeah.
We could have a whole episode to talk about it, but that is currently at the top of our minds and social media feeds. And yes, shout out to Montgomery for what you did and doing it for the people and standing up.
Indeed.
Rosa Parks.
Oh yeah, Rosa Parks. Shout
was
out,
there.
man.
Same place, same
Same
energy.
place,
Same
same
energy.
Same
It
place,
came
man.
out.
Same. So much history, man. All our roots from the South.
Yeah.
Your roots from Alabama, my roots in Alabama, your roots from the SIP. So that's definitely relevant and it hit home.
Special.
On to other news.
Yep.
So today, we wanted to talk about a parallel that we see between business world and the world of athletics, which we were all involved in growing up, where raw talent is compared to work ethic. And the question that came to mind was, how good do you really have to be to not practice at all? Because there are some people in life, and this was inspired by the Johnny Manziel documentary, Johnny Football, which is amazing. If you have not watched it, please check it out. He was so good in the NFL, and he didn't last, but he didn't watch film at all. Like, at all.
You mean college?
No, in the NFL, bro. You watch this documentary. He did not watch film. They track your film. He's like, yeah, how many hours did you get of film study?
Really?
0. Yeah, and again, he didn't have a long NFL career, but in college either.
That's probably why, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's got you can throw a list of people. You got Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
You got Johnny Football. You got Vince Young.
Yep.
Wow.
Them boys, and they're the quarterbacks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And them boys did not watch film, review tape.
Yeah.
They just got out there and played ball.
There's only one person that I can think of when you talk about raw talent that probably didn't have to watch any film, probably didn't have to practice. Well, actually two people. One in a possible. The first person that's top of mind is Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, two-sport athlete, raw talent.
Yeah.
Did not practice, did not do any training camp during football season. I just watched the 30 for 30. Didn't even participate in training camp. Came out and will rush for 250 yards in a game.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson is probably the best, in my mind, the best raw talent athlete to ever play sports.
Well, and let's talk about it though, right? What allowed him to still excel at a high level? Because I feel like there are folks that might see that as an example and say, I'm good enough that where I don't have to, but there is such, in my opinion, a few number of folks that can achieve at the professional level, the highest professional level, without actually putting in the work just because of what they were blessed with, right?
Yeah, Dwayne Wade said.
Oh,
They asked him about LeBron James.
Oh,
How
yeah.
can you? All he did was this. The
Right.
man was blessed with it.
He was.
I mean, we've seen some other athletes on a similar path. Actually, Calvin Johnson. They talk about him. Like
Yeah.
he never really went to the extent of his skills.
What he could do.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I think in football, on a defensive side, you can kind of get away a little bit with just like raw skills more.
Right.
Because it's very instinctual
Yeah.
on
Right.
that side of the ball, whereas like it's more plays drawn up on offense where Deion, your boy Deion Sanders
That was my
said-
possible. That was my possible.
Deion?
Yeah, Deion was my possible.
But Deion wasn't playing around though. He was working though.
He was
Deion
working.
He
Deion
was
was working. But man, the way Deion talked about, he said, "I want my quarterback coming from a 2-family household, and I want my defensive tackles coming from a single mom."
Yeah, I felt
house.
some type of way about that. I did feel some type of way. And I love Deion.
I know, but what?
I felt some type of way.
But at the same time, if you just took a breath to think about it, you like,
Yo, he was crystal clear on his missing persons profile.
he
So
was
who
very.
needed-
Facts. He was.
He knew who he wanted.
He knew who he
Who
wanted.
was going to fit the culture.
Right.
team
But
culture.
when you talk about talent, man, and I played baseball and basketball all throughout Pee Wee sports, middle school, I played for the school, and high school as well, baseball and basketball. But the thing about the reason I said Bo Jackson was 2 sports is hard to do, man.
Yeah.
It's so hard
Yeah.
to go back and forth.
Yeah.
And you got to think, for football, you have a playbook,
Yeah.
right?
long playbook. The
A
higher up
long
you get.
playbook.
Yeah.
A long playbook. And his first at bat in baseball out of college, man, hit one of the longest home runs in the history. I think he was at in the Boston Red Sox Stadium. And that's just 2 sports is hard to do back and forth and just be great at both of them.
And he's not massive either, like height-wise.
He's not.
No.
He's
He's
not.
like 5'10",
He's not,
5'11".
indeed.
Like, if you saw him on the street, you'd be like, oh, he's pretty jacked, but you don't think of him as some giant
Like Goliath
monster.
athlete,
Yeah,
like big-
Goliath
yeah, yeah.
athlete.
Right.
He's just, and same thing with Prime. Prime is like right at 6,
Yep.
maybe 6'1", something
Yep.
like that, and that's 6 foot 6'1".
Yep.
You wouldn't know that when you see them casted there, just like, you know, it's interesting in those sports where height doesn't matter as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Be otherwise. All right, so parallels. We talked a lot about athletics. Where does this show up in the business world? A couple words I'll throw out for y'all to think about are things like resilience, adaptability, being able to manage setbacks, right? How do you respond when something bad happens? I'd argue somebody with crazy natural talent or, that comes to it with just a different interpersonal skill set can do all those things a lot better. If you don't have them, you gotta work it up. But what are talk to me about some parallels between what we talk about in sports and in the business world?
Well, I think it's even with child rearing too. It's an interesting piece where they talk about, don't tell your kids they're smart or that they're, don't talk that part up so much because smart only gets you so far. Yeah. And when they hit the rock where the smart only gets them so far, they don't know how else to feel about what to do.
Come through Georgetown. Come through Georgetown.
Well, but they did an experiment on the kids who they told them were smart, good job, and the kids they told them you worked so hard and you did such, your effort. They praised the effort versus praised the intellect. The ones where they praised the effort just statistically did better.
Why you just not telling me this?
I didn't tell you this before.
No, bro.
I probably
I got
did.
kids. Come on, man. You probably did.
because your natural talent at parenthood, you didn't need no extra
I
time.
appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you naturally talented, brother. Oh, man.
Maybe because I started early. I don't know.
Yeah, you've been in the game a long
I've been
time.
in the game.
I'm over a
Time on
decade
Like
the
Lil
in.
Wayne. Lil Wayne, best
Facts.
rapper, it took him 20 years.
Facts.
You know?
Second
Facts.
Hey, shout out to my man CeeLo. Hey, we saw you in Vegas.
Hey, bro, it's so much time has passed.
my
We've
God.
done so much stuff since we recorded
We
together.
thought we moved on. We thought we were better than this.
And then we were watching Usher in Vegas, and who was in the audience but the GOAT himself, CeeLo Green, little arms and everything, having a great time. It was amazing. Hey,
Bro.
CeeLo, man, I love you, man. Can't wait to meet you in person one day. We were 40 feet away from each other. I just had other things going on.
If
Sorry.
his arms were longer, y'all would have touched.
Oh my God, bro.
How'd you talk about my GOAT like that?
Oh,
man.
my God.
All right, so he talked about parallels between athletics and business.
Well, it's funny. Even what's my man name? LaRussell. L.A. Russell?
Oh yeah, I haven't really tapped in. I haven't tapped in.
I do follow him because he said some interesting things. He said, "Why don't we treat rap like we treat other pro sports? Because you got a lot of people in rap. People in rap. In pro sports, you get cut. You on the ball court.
Yep.
If you suck, get him out of there. Get him out of there." Whereas in rap, they're like anybody's up in there. So I think it's just interesting how his mental approach to that. Because in the end, like Drake says, it's a sport.
It's
We're
a sport,
competing
man.
out there.
Yeah.
And so there's just parallels to the mindset of anything that's competitive. That's what it boils down to, right?
Yeah.
Doing it
I like
against
that.
other people.
Absolutely.
It's the competition of business, because business is a competition.
It is.
As much as we want to be, everyone can eat. Some folks are gonna eat a little. Everyone can eat.
Everyone can. Yep.
But some people gonna eat more than others.
That's
just what
that's
it
just
boils
where
down to.
What do you
that's just what
say?
it
It's not fair because it's business.
Not fair. It's not
It's
fair.
not
at all.
fair. Like, there's no other. It's not fair.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
not fair.
It's unfairly distribution of wealth. And
Fact.
that's across the board. And there's some sociological things about that, of
Yeah.
course. But
Yeah.
if we just stick into the sport of business, like every time I beat, big bank take little bank. You can just go back to the old school. Big bank takes little bank.
Yeah.
If we betting in poker and I got a much
can
bigger
outbet
hand than
you,
you,
yeah.
I can outbet you. It's the same company.
Yeah.
Like I can just take everything you got over time.
Right.
And to bring that back, I think
bring
to
it back.
business,
Bring it back.
folks that come into specifically entrepreneurial endeavors with more backing, the confidence that comes from more backing, that allows them to take risks and do things that if they work out or don't, they're gonna be okay. And I'd argue that really, without training, without practice, without like enough reps to know, that allows somebody that's coming from a privileged background into entrepreneurship to be much better positioned to thrive without exceptional skill.
And
It's what
talent.
gives them a runway.
Gives them a runway.
It gives them a runway.
Yeah, and talent. Because I think the person that is coming and makes it without anything, that has the story to tell, appreciates not having more. They appreciate not having more, so therefore they work harder. Right? They always say, hard work outworks talent. Right?
Yeah.
And so
That's
that
the quote.
person is definitely, they got the runway, but their plane might not take off at the same as
Or they
somebody
reach
without.
a ceiling, or they reach an
Yes.
absolute ceiling.
Yes.
Where it is. Yeah.
Yes.
But don't you think? I think that the word talent is not really defined very well.
Talk to
Because
me.
we just say we'll call anything talent. We don't care whether that person worked hard or that person, because
That just
Shout
means you're
out to-
kind of good.
shout out to GK, because Gary Keller.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Gary Keller would say that talent is hard work in a lot of ways. He would basically say that you found a talented person, a person who's willing to do the job to the best of their abilities and consistently. Like that is a talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the sport of business, talent, talent is working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think people are talented because they have personality. I think that's where we really
Because they're attractive.
they,
They're
they
bright.
look
They're loud.
good, they talk
Right.
good, they
Yeah.
smell good, they have
Right.
all the interpersonal likings that you want to see, visually appealing,
Right.
like appealing to your five senses. But their actual skill, knowledge, and devotion to the work might not be there.
Well, you used to tell me this all the time, and I kind of started to think about this. Ryan, you was like, I know you're passionate about what we're doing, and I know you want us to be out there, but like we just started, and we don't have enough history in doing what we're doing at
So
a
we
high
haven't
level.
mastered this stage.
You know what I
before we go
mean?
to the next
And so people might think we might fail after 1 year. They don't know, so they're not gonna like look out for us or reach out to us, right? Now, and that's when we're working hard. We're in the paint. We're working hard. But like you taught me that, and you do have to have a history. That's when, once you have that track record, that's when you can call it talent.
Yeah. Because you want to be a dynasty, right?
Exactly.
And so if you just pop up 1 year, you rookie of the year, right? And then after that, you fall off.
Right.
Like no one's going to give you, in basketball, they're not going to give you a $300 million contract just because you're rookie of the year. You got to show up for the next years
Indeed.
before you can get that contract.
Except Jaylen Brown this year. That was really good
Well,
time.
he put in work.
He's good. He's good.
Bro.
He's good. He's good. He's not $300 million good.
No, he's $300 million. It's just, that's the
market.
baseline
Yeah.
now
The
for
market.
the new market.
It's timing. It's timing.
It is
Yeah,
timing.
it's timing.
It's timing.
It's timing.
But I feel
That's
where
different.
you're
But
coming
his,
from.
But his work ethic earned it. I'm not saying he's
Yeah.
not deserving of a very big contract, but I'd argue that is another component in all of this: talent, hard work, luck.
Well, Beach, no. When you
Luck-
look up,
luck-
Remember,
luck in the short
remember,
term.
Jordan only made $100 million in the league, though.
Right.
Correct. But
Right.
that's the market. That was the market.
That's all, so the market right now for Jaylen Brown, like he's at the beginning of this new market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just went
He just
crazy.
hit.
It just
It
went
just
crazy
went hit.
this year.
and a year
Shout
we're
out to
gonna
Rich
be talking
Paul.
about.
Shout out to Rich Paul.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Rich Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Rich
He
Paul
made
for
that happen.
sure.
In a year, we're gonna talk about half of 400, 500
Yeah,
million.
like,
it's
we're gonna be talking about
crazy.
somebody else different that shouldn't have deserved a
Well, because
contract.
remember when A-Rod got the first $100 million contract, and it was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
I can't believe it. Now,
Yeah.
my boy Fred VanVleet,
Yeah,
he got 150.
wasn't he
mil?
at the Usher concert as well?
was.
Ursha,
Yeah.
shout out to Fred.
Shout out to Jadakiss, who I think is in town today. He's in
Oh,
DC
really?
or
Shout out to
something.
Jadakiss
He-
for calling out Harrison Beecher. He looked at Harrison Beecher. Yo, Freddie!
Good looks with the contract, son.
Good looks with the contracts, Freddie.
Wow, yeah, that was
That
funny.
really
He literally thought that Harrison was Fred VanVleet.
Wow.
Pan into him. Let him
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Look at
yeah.
Look at that mug right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Is that Fred? Yes, I think you can play basketball. Y'all the same height.
I might be a little taller than him.
You might
I
be a
have
little.
an
You
inch
might
on
be a
him.
little bit inch on him. Yeah, there you go.
I didn't even know what he was saying until I told y'all later too.
Yo,
I had no idea.
Freddie.
I thought he was just high.
I mean, he was. But
Yeah, he was.
Oh, gosh.
man.
All right, so we talked about. I think it's not just a two-sided thing of talent versus hard work. There's another component of timing and luck that's in it too.
Yeah, for
I think timing and good luck and at least a burst of effort can get you results in the short term. But if we're talking about, like you said, dynasty, long-term, legacy,
Yeah.
enterprise level, that's got to be a combination of both.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
it has to.
I mean, think about it. The market for real estate from, people would say, argue what, 2011 to
Yeah.
2000 and basically 20?
Yeah.
Or let's
Yeah.
call it 2019.
Yeah.
I mean, almost a 10-year run.
Not
I mean,
20
even-
because 20 was great.
Yeah,
20
20 was
21.
great, but
21 was crazy.
20 had a real steep dip when the
then it went
pandemic
crazy.
hit.
For a
and it went
quick
crazy.
second.
Yeah, it was
For a
a,
quick
for
second.
it was a
Yeah.
hesitation before.
Yeah, it was Hezo. It was
Well, you
Hezo.
fell down in the we fell down in the hole, and then we started climbing. We was like, oh, this not that bad. Like we back, and then
Yeah.
all we see is like more and more craters going down, right?
Right.
But for a 10-year run, if you showed up and just did a little bit of something, you was
was
all right.
there.
Because if you showed up at all, you was making money.
Life was
if you
good.
showed up and did work, you were making tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard somebody at the Inman conference in Vegas this past week say,
Shout out to Keith James being a Inman moderator.
and shout out to the people that put me in the place. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys. But they said right now it's the most opportune time in real estate because a lot of people, that run was so good and life was great. Now they're going to be falling off the bandwagon.
They don't know what to
But
do.
They don't know what to do, right? And I would argue that whoever make it out of this, whatever we're in, is going to be the next talented one.
Mm-hmm.
The next talented one, the next great one. And they're going to get that $300 million contract,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be different when they come
Yeah.
out. And that's why LeBron James is the greatest athlete of all
LeBron
time.
James.
LJ.
Is
LeBron James.
LBJ. He's
King
the
James.
King
zoom
James.
in.
He's
I
the
still got
greatest
my-
of all
Yep.
because of longevity.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Longevity,
And,
man.
that- and he is a combination of both God-given, elite generational talent, physical ability, skill, and a tireless work ethic to only continue to get better.
And some would
Like-
say he
And
had a
like-
runway too. Some would say he had a runway. I mean, he made $190 million before he even touched the basketball stepped on the floor. You know what I mean? And so that right there, I appreciate that more than anything because he had so many haters, and to this day still has.
does, yeah.
They called him the king at 16, 17.
Yeah, on the
Put
cover
him
of
on. Put him on.
Sports
Slam,
Illustrated.
Yeah.
SIN
Yeah.
slam.
Yeah.
He up there with the
Yeah.
ball up there on the head.
Yeah, with the crown. Yep.
With the crown on. I mean,
Think about that.
and think about it. Who said he was the king? It wasn't him. He
Right.
didn't say that.
Right.
Somebody said
Was
this
he
guy.
the beginning of like youth sports, like monetizing youth sports? Was there anybody before him that like
No.
in high
They
school-
had the what's the like they used to play the mixtapes for the basketball players.
Oh,
before
and
they-
one?
No, not and one.
I don't
No,
remember.
that was like the mixtapes.
I'm just saying, like-
well, the mixtapes would came out, or like your mixtapes would come out. It's like Carr. What's his name? Carr out of Baltimore. He's one of the early ones.
Really?
And yeah, we saw his mixtapes. Like this guy's incredible. Not and one mixtapes. I guess
Talking
it
about
was
high school.
Yeah, for the
high school
one.
mixtapes.
Yeah, the
But we
high
talk about like money. Like I feel like, but in high school sports, like I remember playing against like the OJ Mayos of the world.
Yeah.
Like in high school, Greg Oden. We graduated all the same class. Kevin Durant. But like I feel like when LeBron came, it was like
It was like ESPN, like that.
But
Like
LeBron
that.
came
Like the
before them,
Oak
though.
Hill, St. Stephen's.
Yeah.
But LeBron came before them.
Right. LeBron
Exactly.
came before them, but it wasn't until when LeBron came is when people really started to, who's going to be the next of the next LeBron James in high school that we can point to and say they're going to be great.
Well, I think remember the NBA gave it a run for the high school to NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so then some of those people didn't work out. I think they changed it up. But like, I mean, you got to remember KG
Mhm.
was out there. What's my man name? Used to play for
Kwame
New York.
Brown. Didn't Kwame come straight out of school?
Nah.
Yeah, Big Kwame came right out of high
No,
school.
no, I'm
Yeah, he
not
did.
talking about Kwame. I'm talking Kwame
Out
came
of
out.
New York? Oh, Sebastian Telfair?
No, he played for New York. He played for the Knicks, and then he also played for the Suns. I just can't remember his name or not. 6'10", 6'11", playing forward center. But
Amari Stoudemire?
Amari Stoudemire.
Oh, yeah,
coming
yeah,
out. I mean, Amari Stoudemire take out his knee injury. That dude would have been a Hall of Famer for sure.
Facts. Absolutely.
For
But
sure.
no, but I'm
T-Mac,
talking about the economy,
the economy
that
of
was
hi-
created around high school athletes.
Yeah,
like
Mikey.
LeBron really
The
started
Mikeys
that.
of the world right now. The top.
Well, I just feel like they
100.
didn't really. Yeah, he could have started it, but honestly, it didn't really get started till the laws changed with the NIL, man. When
Yeah.
the NIL, when
No,
the NIL came in,
no. It changed when the players can make money. I'm talking about other people making money
Off the
off
players.
of high school
Like the
basketball.
AAU coaches.
and
Wait a
I
minute
remember
now. Nick
content people
Saban's
watching.
been making money off of high school people for goddamn 40 years now.
When they're in high school, though, not
But
when
no.
they're in high school.
But I think it started with LeBron
Yeah.
because nobody was looking at. Let me rank these. They had rankings.
Yeah, we had rankings.
But the ABCD camp, the Reebok Big Time camp, all the
Mhm.
AU tournaments that we went to, Sonny Vaccaro really was the pioneer of let's make this a business.
Yeah.
You know?
And get eyeballs
And
on
get
it.
eyeballs
Yeah.
on it, right? And that's when the AAU coaches started to make money.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted to be a high school coach anymore. They wanted to be a AAU coach because they were getting
'Cause you
more
get
money
that
than the
endorsement
high
money,
school
yeah,
coaches.
A lot more.
And I think that's when it started with people like LeBron James because it was 03, 04, you had Sebastian Telfair, you had Chris Paul, you had all
Akil
those
Carr,
guys.
who I was trying to remember. Akil Carr.
I don't remember.
Yeah, see, I don't even know him.
Mhm, yeah.
But those guys, that's when it really started with the AAU tournaments. I remember, man, being at AAU tournaments, man, we got free Nike gear. We had the best of the best Reebok gear when we were Reebok. Like, the coaches had everything. They were driving up in Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Maseratis, G-Wagons. Like,
Money. Hoop mixtapes. That's what I was trying to say.
oh, hoop mixtape.
Hoop
I
mixtapes.
rember that.
Hoop mixtape.
Yeah. I remember that.
They,
I
they
remember
were
that. That was visibility.
CDs. They were DVDs. What were they? How were they even distributed? Because that wasn't really in it. Was internet? Was the internet back then?
It was
Internet
DVDs.
around,
No, but I'm saying
it was
it wasn't like-
DVDs for
yeah.
sure.
It was
Yeah,
Man,
you
I
watch
was definitely
stuff on the
watching
internet.
dubbed versions of like
Yeah.
hoop mixtapes
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Like them boys was hooping.
But some of those kids, they have talent. To bring it back to like what we were talking
Talent,
about,
work ethic, yeah.
the work ethic and the talent, man. You give these kids, all this money, and some of them are gonna make it. I feel like they
Yeah.
deserve to get paid. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
But like, there needs to be some financial literacy around what if this goes tomorrow? What if this? That's why it's cool with the money, but let's educate these kids on how to spend the money and how to invest the money. So therefore, they're not on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because that's really the problem. I think the fundamental issue is back to the education and the financial literacy.
Well, I think it's interesting. It's like Akil Carr, an example. I'll show you stuff later, but like he was like the first big. Everyone looks at him as the first big internet like mixtape star, like high school mixtape star. Like that's how he's viewed in the when you read the like magazines and stuff like that. That's actually how he's viewed. I mean, you can have your own opinion.
What year did he
whatever.
come out?
I want to say like maybe like 06 or something like that. Something like that. Like even when
And it
I
might
look
have
right
been
now,
regional,
like
too. Like, I don't know
literally
if
it
it's like-
says
Yeah. I
don't
Akil
remember.
Carr, one of the most exciting compilation of high school
Guard,
player
point guard.
Yeah, a little.
I remember him.
6'6",
Yeah,
like,
I
real
remember him.
short.
I remember him.
Flying down the court.
I remember
But the
him.
point is, he's more talented than everybody in his high school,
Mhm.
but his talent couldn't really take him to the next level, quite
Mhm.
frankly.
Yeah.
And you look at that the same thing with the and one cats and stuff like that. Like some of them dudes were super duper talented. Could they have made it to the league? I
Michael
don't
Redd,
know.
Skip to
Like
Malou, right?
they could have
Yeah,
got a
Skip, man,
shot,
yeah.
but like I mean, Skip when you had cats with 50-inch vertical. Remember the dude that broke his teeth
Mhm.
on the
Yeah.
rim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're up there, but like when you ask the NBA players, they'd be like, "Bro, playing the basketball game is the most fun part, but you got to get to the game."
All the
Got
other
to get
stuff.
to the game.
Draymond Green just talked about this. He was talking about the preparation you had to do to even get to the game where
Bro,
you had
it's
to
working on
start.
your body.
He's like,
the number of games you
can't
play.
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
Just even the day of the game, though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not being
Physically
able
getting
to
to the game.
mess up from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. just to get to play to the game, whether that's the workouts, the body work, the mental work, all those different things where you can't make mistakes consistently over and over again.
And to make that like across all boards, my favorite saying is prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And you can apply that to the sport world, business, education, wherever, you know. And I think when Draymond hit it right on, he hit it. Like, that is so true. You have to prepare to even be able to get ready for tip off.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to get ready to tip off.
The weight training.
Yeah.
All
you
the
know?
things. All the things. I mean, and look, like, I think there's a few people, we talked about LeBron. Another name I got to bring up that I think is the perfect marriage and overlapping of talent and work ethic. LeVar Ball, man. Like,
oh my God.
What he did, recognizing that his kids had an elite set of physical, traits they were going to be gifted with.
Yeah.
And then how he, Joe Jackson them and had a camera out front.
Nah, he ain't Joe Jackson.
Look, I mean, Joe Jackson,
much.
let's say to Joe Jackson as a verb is to consistently
Without
push
the
your
belt.
kids to
Without the
greatness
belt.
without
That's more
abuse.
than the
Without
belt.
abuse.
Joe
Without
was
abuse.
dropping the hammers on them, boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ball. I'm sorry, Big Baller. I didn't mean it that way. But Joe Jacksoning in as a verb of, if I'm a parent, I'm going to push my kids to greatness by putting them into this structure, making sure they're doing this every day on the weights, on the nutrition, like the video. Like, we saw so much of it. But then he also, when they were on their beginnings of their pro careers, if you watch, I watched all the shows. I loved all of
you
the
did.
Ball and
Sure.
the Family.
I
It was
knew
so
it.
good. I
I
mean,
love
and
those
there were
guys.
parts of it that were, over the top. That was just him committing to the marketing and the brand and what works right now in 2020 and beyond, of like infamy and being like talked about as a thing you can monetize and be famous. He did that perfectly, but he was so smart to time teaching them work ethic.
Yeah.
Because look, yes, we know Jello messed up. We know Lonzo's probably done with his knee.
Because of his shoe that his dad made for him. I'm just saying. That was the
Z3.
start of it. That was the start of it. He busted his shoe, hurt his knee. I'm just saying. But no, keep going.
But he taught them that when you outgrow or when your body doesn't allow your raw talent to continue, what are some other streams of revenue you're going to be making? What are
Yep.
like, he set them up.
Yep.
Like, even Jello, who probably won't play really high level pro basketball anywhere.
We'll play NBA, but
He gonna be all, he gonna be all right
Yeah, he gonna be all right.
because of that back end work ethic of the different business structures that were set in place. Like, that's what you're saying. A lot of kids need.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, I
indeed.
mean, I think it's interesting because if you look, like, quite frankly, they aren't the most athletic people. No one's talking about any of their verts. Like, no one's like,
You're crazy right now, bro.
What?
Melo
Melo
has
and
been
Lonzo
extremely-
could jump out the gym, bro.
They were
You're
pretty in their prime. They
ripping.
were athletic.
To who?
Not
Compared to
not
who?
like,
no.
compared to who?
No. Listen to what I'm
you
saying,
trying to say
bro.
like Olympic high jump?
No,
like,
I'm
no,
not talking,
but
listen,
like,
high jump. I'm just talking
Who?
like a regular.
Who?
If you look
All
at
right,
any
who?
of the other elite guards that
Talk
he
to
came in
me.
through with,
Who?
Bro,
Give me somebody.
I mean, you can just go down the list. Like, look
Go
at
through the
look
list.
at-
Go down.
All right, Melo came in with who? Who Melo come in with? Zion, right?
I mean,
Okay.
Don't say
That's
yeah.
a different
don't say
guard.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
that's a different guard.
Don't say yeah.
But
Don't
can I-
over here
can I-
try to change
can
it
I-
up.
We're on
Don't over
Google
here
Meet
try
right
to
now.
change-
Can I raise
yeah.
my hand? Google Meet. Raise my
Okay,
hand.
Google
Raise
me.
my hand.
Raise it.
But Zion is like a freak of nature, bro.
Oh,
Like,
that's
you can't
different.
compare
That's
him to.
different.
He can
All
jump
I'm
higher than
saying
anybody
is-
probably has ever drafted.
that weight had probably more force per jumping than
and who?
anybody else.
From Minnesota, Anthony.
Same.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Literally, the NBA is always going to be that.
Yeah, but what,
And all I'm
what does
saying-
that
No,
take
I'm
away
talking
from
about
their
saying
elite?
Melo.
My point is,
Yeah.
they are 6'7" guards. Like, they're jumping and dunking. They're athletic compared to like a regular person, but compared to the NBA, their athleticism is not there. That was even in their scouting
there?
reports. That was even in the scouting reports.
Bro,
So,
all right,
Lonzo,
Lonzo
go
Ball.
back
are
and
you
look
telling
at
me
Lon-
that one?
Go back and look at
that was the
Lonzo's
scouting reports.
and the
Can I-
speed. Talk about Melo's speed,
Lonzo
just his
Ball,
quickness, his first step.
athleticism
Like,
was
what?
not a red flag for him. Lonzo Ball. I ain't talking about Melo. We talking about Lonzo, right? You talking about Lonzo Ball. When he came in, he was super athletic
That
at
was a
UCLA, jumping out the gym.
He jumped well.
Melo can't. He probably couldn't jump over a
dunking
can of
on
paint.
people.
He jumped
But
well,
he
but
could
he
dunk.
wasn't jumping. He wasn't jumping.
LaMelo's first step. LaMelo's quickness. LaMelo's super quick,
Yeah.
especially for
But
his size.
Melo wasn't
LaMelo's
as
extremely quick.
athletic as Lonzo, but Lonzo was super athletic.
When
Bro.
they
He just
talk-
can shoot as well.
When they talk about Melo, they always say his control of the ball and his ability to
Yeah.
change directions. But every time they say he's not super, he's not super anything. Now he's proven that using his skills,
Yeah,
he's been
he's
able to
very
be
skilled.
faster. He's
Yes,
been able to crafty
yes.
and get to his spots
Yes.
faster. He's faster than he looks.
Creative
et
shot,
cetera.
creative,
Yes.
surprising.
But,
Yeah.
man, just based off
On Melo,
metrics,
correct.
if you go and say do your vert,
I agree with you on
do
Melo.
your 40, do all that stuff.
I
bro,
agree
the
with you.
boys is not crazy athletic.
But if you look at
I agree
his
with you on
highlights
Melo.
early,
I agree with you on Melo. But Lonzo,
that's my whole point
different.
is the fact that they aren't crazy athletic. They've still been able to outwork people. That's literally my point.
Yeah.
Because they're
Especially
they're
Lonzo,
winning
especially
because they're
Lonzo.
outworking people.
Yeah.
And they're outskilling people.
Facts.
Not because they got more
Yeah.
athleticism in them. You
Yeah.
can't tell me man, I'm picking him because he jumped out the gym. I'm picking him because you're never gonna say that on none of them boys. Quite frankly, you're not gonna. That's not the reason
not
you
now,
picked them up.
not now.
That's
not
not
now,
why
not now for
Lonzo was picked up because they remind him of Magic Johnson. He's 6'7" point guard who had superior court vision.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He put it
It
on your
wasn't
head
big-
though.
it
He will
wasn't
put it
big-
on your head. He not gonna knock
he
you
had
out.
bounce.
He had a little bounce.
Yeah.
Lonzo
A
had
little
but also
bounce.
remember,
Lonzo?
but bro, just remember though, he's 6'7", bro.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
He's
He's
a number 3
6'7",
pick.
bro.
like he
Okay,
should
I'm gonna
be.
say this about 6'7", the height.
6'7" guard
On paper,
point.
I never I never stood next to him. A lot of we see 6'7". I don't know if I'm 6. He doesn't look 6'7" to me on paper because Kobe's 6'6", bro.
Okay, actually,
he
they
doesn't
say
look
he's
taller than
6'6".
Kobe.
They say he's 6'6".
Okay, he doesn't.
But
I don't
6'6"
know.
is still a big guard, though.
It is
Point
big
guard.
guard. It
It's
is
a
a big
big
guard.
point guard. So he's
Maybe.
bigger than all the point guards out there. Yeah, he gonna be jamming on people's
He kind of
hands.
looks 6'4" on the low though.
Yeah, the hair. They always had
You know
those
what I'm
couple
saying?
extra
Kinda looks
inches of hair.
6'4" on the low.
We got to see how
I
tall
mean,
he
I
is
was
with short haircut.
6'5" on paper in AAU basketball,
6'3".
bro.
I'm
Like,
6'3".
remember- Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I was 6'5" on paper, 6'5" wing
6'5".
guard combo. You know
Hey,
what
with
I mean?
cleats and a helmet, I'm 6'3" all day.
Bro. But no, I feel what you're
Spikes.
saying. He outskilled. I feel what you're saying.
Hey, I'll skip.
Yeah.
My point is not. The point is not that he's not athletic. The point is that's not the point of his basketball game.
Yeah.
It's not because he's not out there Michael Jordan and people.
Mhm.
You know what I
No,
mean?
he's
he's
not
not
going
out there Anthony Edwards. Anthony
Anthony
Edwards is
different.
one of the
that's
pure.
elite athleticism. For
Anthony
sure.
Edwards
For
is
sure.
one of those guys that could have played multiple sports.
If you want
That boy could have played baseball. That boy
Yeah.
could have played football.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
I
Talent.
can't look at Lonzo and be like, I can't. Well, let me take him to another sport.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
So that to me that shows the difference in athleticism
Yeah.
in there. Where in the end you bring it back to the point. His dad still got them. He's like, look, we work.
Yeah.
We work
Yeah.
every day. We don't take no days
This is what you do.
off.
He was a
You're gonna
personal
be
trainer, right? He was a
personal trainer.
This is
You're gonna
background.
be
Tina
in
too. Tina
superior.
was a beast
Yeah.
too.
You're gonna be in superior condition,
Yeah.
and he just beat them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
That's a good
greatness.
point. To
To
greatness.
greatness.
To greatness.
I mean, when I say he beat them down, meaning
Yeah.
they beat the other teams down. They would beat these super athletic
yeah.
teams down because they ran them to death.
They
That's
ran
just
them.
old school,
In
like
high school.
Mhm.
Chino Hills.
basketball.
Shout out to Chino Hills,
yeah,
man.
Hills,
run them
man.
to
Yeah,
death.
Chino
Oof.
Hills, man.
Oof. All right, man. We got to wrap it up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because,
that was fun.
No,
That was
dope.
fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
One thing I'll throw out as a final thought before we give some closing thoughts. I feel like when you do have that exceptional talent early, it can mask and make up for not doing all the right things from a preparation.
100%.
You know what I mean? And that's where, to salespeople in this, because not everybody's an elite athlete, if you've come into some early success and if you're doing well, if you had a bunch of things come to you for right place, right time, right activities initially, know that you can't just rest on the laurels of that one time. Because like Ryan said, this is a competitive world. There's always new blood, always new people coming in. So if you have come into some early success, great. Build on it and don't rest on it. Because I think that's where people mess up in
Yeah.
business. They come like, oh, it worked out here, but then the market changes or
Yeah.
something changes. Like you have to build in work ethic and study in the craft like you. Like that's, giving you your
Yeah,
flowers. That's
yeah,
what
give you
you
your flowers,
continue
man.
to do and started out doing. I just want more people to hear that and know they got to work on it.
Yeah, I think it's one interesting point. I think there's something to be said about working hard and using your talent and using your natural uniqueness to your advantage, but not forgetting to keep working hard. Because sometimes I've been guilty of just seeing what other people are doing. Like, let me see, can we just replicate that?
Right.
And not necessarily weaving that into the fabric of, how we're built.
How we're built.
Right. So I think that's something kind of to think about as well. Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, man. I was just talking to Sarah Reynolds this past week about that, like the uniqueness of who we are and how we put material out, how we speak the language of real estate, the gospel. And I was telling her, I was like, Sarah, you're so great in what you've built because it's like art, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like painting a picture. You've built this yourself. You've built this business and you know who to do what, you know who to put in the right place. And you can go on stage all the time and tell people what you do. You could tell them how you do it.
Exactly.
And
They
they
can't be
would
able to
never
do it.
be able to do what you do. They would never be, because this is your art, right? And I think that's something else to talk about is that how we speak and how we may not be able to replicate what other people are doing, right? Because of who we are and how we speak that good gospel of real estate.
But we can be the best version of ourselves.
And we can be the best version of ourselves.
And you're going to see exceptional talent and exceptional results always lifted up. But the story that I feel like KW does a good job of this, and the spaces we're in do a good job of it. We also get a sense of the work behind the scenes that it took to get there. Like
Indeed.
the people were in the gym, especially those legacy and enterprise level. They're going to be folks that come up out the gate,
Yeah.
can have a lot of success, and we want that, and that's awesome. But that's just a starting point, and
I
you can't
think-
just rest on that.
And also, too, to that point, we talk about, KW is the power of collaboration and sharing, too. I think that's what kind of sets us apart, because we've been able to see different business plans, and we've been able to see track records. We've been able to sit in rooms
Receipts.
with people. We got receipts, and we know that we can call somebody and say, how did you do this? And it's going to be reciprocated. It's going to be answered.
They pick up the
They
phone.
pick up the phone, right?
Yeah.
That's
something
a part
else.
of that work ethic, like film study. Back to full circle. Johnny Manziel. You watch Johnny football. He never watched film, man. It just blows my mind. But he still was so good and able to improvise and move around that he made it happen. If you're
Yeah.
looking to build something in business, you got to do the film study. You got to check out the actual habits and activities of the people that are achieving at a high level, not just the stuff you see publicly.
Facts.
All right, good convo, man.
Great
Shout out
convo.
to Triple B, Big Baller Brand.
Big
Big
baller
baller
brand.
brand.
Shout out to Triple Fish.
I want a Big Baller Brand shirt.
I
man.
want to
We
meet
like
him.
make
I'm
some.
down with it. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
love
yeah,
to,
100%.
Let's go.
100%.
The best way to follow this podcast and stay in touch with us is on YouTube. Make sure you're checking out all the episodes of the All Blends Perfectly podcast there. We're on Instagram at All Blends Perfectly. This gentleman is at Keith James Realtor. Ryan is at Ryan Butler Hoya. I am at HL Beach, and our sales team is at Coalition Properties. Thank you so much for joining into the All Blends Perfectly podcast. We'll see you next time.